I sold my childhood guitar to pay for her bar exam. She laughed. Now that I'm a lawyer, I don't date losers. Her parents applauded. I nodded, quietly took my box of memories, and left. Today, she's screaming into my voicemail. Please answer. They took everything. I smashed it. My Stratocaster. The same one I got when I was 11. Candy apple red. Stickers still peeling from years of bedroom concerts and garage bands that never made it past the third rehearsal. I could have sold it online for $1,500 easy. Instead, I sold it for $300 cash to a pawn shop that smelled like warm pennies and old shame. Because she needed to pay her bar exam fees. Because I loved her. I remember the way she kissed my cheek when I handed her the envelope. You're my future, she said. 3 months later, in a brunch place with linen napkins and her law degree still warm from the printer, she looked at me across the table and said, now that I'm a lawyer, I don't date losers. Then she laughed. Laughed like it was the setup to a joke. Like I hadn't been scraping night shifts and door-dashing double weekends to keep us afloat. Her parents were there too. Her dad lifted his glass. A step up, he said. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just nodded. Took my little cardboard box of memories, receipts, love notes, the stub from our first movie, and left. That was 9 months ago. Today, she left 37 voicemails. The last one was nothing but screaming. Please answer. They took everything. I haven't called back yet, but I will. Because I know exactly what happened. Because I made sure of it. Let me explain. I met Elise during her 3rd year of law school. She was brilliant in a way that made you feel stupid for trying to keep up. Sharp-tongued, sharp-dressed, ambitious like a drowning woman clinging to a title. But there was something else. This softness she reserved for me. At least at first. I was working 2 jobs. Managing inventory for a warehouse during the day and bartending at a pseudo-Irish pub at night. Not glamorous. Not partner material. As her friends liked to joke when they didn't think I was listening. But Elise didn't care. She said she loved my fire. My loyalty. My hunger. She moved in with me 6 months before the bar. Our place was tiny. Cracked linoleum. A sink that wouldn't stop whining. Cooked. She studied. We laughed. The night she passed the exam, we danced in the living room. No music. Just bare feet and breathless promises. She told me we'd build an empire. Then she got hired at Hallstrom and Greaves. And everything changed. It started with small things. She began coming home later. Switched out her phone lock code. Started calling me sweetheart. In this condescending tone. Like I was a pet. She stopped bringing her laptop home. Said the work was too sensitive. She started dressing sharper, sexier. I didn't ask questions. But I noticed. One night I opened her laptop while she was in the shower. Not to snoop, just to Google a recipe. Her Chrome was still open. There were messages. Her and someone named D. The texts were overly intimate and inappropriate. Detailed. Time-stamped. Full of cruel jokes about me. My job. My blue-collar ambitions. One line. He thinks I'm still his. It's kind of cute. Another. I'll end things after the bar clears. Just needed support until then. I didn't confront her. Not then. I needed time. Time to figure out how deep the hole was. Time to plan. The next day, I quit the pub and picked up extra hours at the warehouse. Started talking to her coworkers. Got friendly with the interns. One of them, Kayla, slipped up after 2 shots of vodka at a happy hour and said Elise was the queen of leverage. She always knows where the bodies are buried. She laughed. She makes people owe her. I started digging. D was Devin Lyles. Senior partner. Married. For kids. Elise wasn't just sleeping with him. She was involved in questionable financial practices at the firm. She was elbow-deep in laundering and she didn't even flinch. By the time I confronted her, I already had the USB. Encrypted. Hidden in a safe deposit box tied to a trust with no name on it. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I made dinner. Set the table. Poured the wine. She told me she was moving out. Said she'd outgrown this phase. That loving someone who didn't match her trajectory was self-sabotage. I smiled. Said I understood. She smirked. I slept in the car that night. A week later, I saw a Facebook post. She was in Greece. Devin was tagged. His wife had commented, "Lovebirds." I started phase 2. I reached out to Devin's wife. Sent her an anonymous envelope. Photos, screenshots, dates, an invitation to talk. She never responded. But 3 days later, Devin's Instagram went dark. I waited. 2 months later, The SEC opened a quiet inquiry into Hallstrom and Greaves' finances. Then Elise called me, drunk, sobbing, said she missed me, said she'd made a mistake. I didn't answer. Then the layoffs started. Then the lawsuits. Then the firm announced its temporary closure. Then the final voicemail today. Please answer. They took everything. The house. The car. The watches. They took my goddamn life. She was screaming. I listened to the message twice. Then opened the photo app on my phone. One image. Her bar exam certificate. Ripped in half. I took the photo a year ago after she told me she'd never date a loser. Before I sold the guitar. Before I learned just how much a heart can rot. She still doesn't know it was me. Not yet. But she will. And I won't even need to say a word. Next update soon. They always think silence means weakness. Sometimes it means you've already won. Update 1. The night after that last voicemail, I drove by the house. Her house now. Or whatever was left of it. She didn't know I was watching, how could she? I'd parked a block down, engine off, lights out. From where I sat, I had a perfect view through the kitchen window. Not the front, not the porch. The kitchen. Because I know her. I know that when she's overwhelmed, she bakes. It calms her. And there she was, kneeling on the floor in her silk robe, crying in front of the open oven. No ingredients out. No batter. Just sobbing, like maybe the warmth was the last thing she had that didn't leave her. I didn't feel pity. I felt fascinated. You need to understand something, I'm not cruel. Or at least, I wasn't. But Elise taught me something about cause and effect. That sometimes people only learn when you make the consequences real. I stayed until the porch light flicked off. Then I left. Back at my place, there was a letter waiting for me. No name on the envelope, just my address written in her unmistakable script, shaky, rushed. Inside, 3 Polaroids. All of me. Sleeping. Eating. Walking to my car. One was from the parking lot behind the warehouse. My hands went numb. This wasn't desperation. It was surveillance. And not just hers. I checked my rear camera. There it was 2 days ago, a black Audi parked across the street at 2:17 a.m. Lights off. No plates. Devin's car was an Audi. I didn't sleep that night. At 4:13 a.m. I started a new email draft. Addressed to 3 law enforcement agencies and 1 journalist. Just the basics, a timeline, a few attachments, my contact info. I didn't hit send. Not yet. Instead, I set up a Google Drive folder with view-only permissions and sent the link to Elise's work email. Subject line, you shouldn't have played accountant. I didn't say anything else. 6 hours later, she texted me, what the F*** is this? I didn't respond. By noon, she'd called 8 times. By 3 p.m. I had a message from her new lawyer. It was short. We are requesting immediate deletion of any private materials acquired through unauthorized means. Failure to comply will result in litigation. I replied once. I suggest your client reread the firm's internal policy on digital assets. Section 12B specifically. Consent was never revoked. No response. But that's when the fun began. A friend of mine, Gabe, used to run IT security for a hedge fund. He owed me a favor. I sent him the drive, asked him to scan for metadata. I didn't say why. He called me an hour later. Dude, did you know some of these files are traced back to their internal audit system? There's timestamps on asset transfers, password logs, even account toggles linked to her employee ID. He paused. You're sitting on a landmine. If this leaks, it won't just nuke her. It'll take the whole building down. Good. I didn't want revenge. I wanted her relevance. I wanted her to go to sleep knowing she could never outmaneuver me again. Then came the call that told me I was winning. Not from her. From Devin's wife. Blocked number. No greeting. Just her voice, calm, deliberate. You were smarter than I thought. I waited. She's disposable, she said. But I'm not interested in theatrics. What do you want? I told her. She laughed once quietly. Not amused. Just tired. It's already happening, she said. The audit committee got an anonymous tip 2 days ago. Devin's been locked out of his account since this morning. I didn't send the tip. She hung up. 3 hours later, Elise tried calling again. This time, she left a voicemail. No screaming. Just a whisper. Please don't end me. I'll do anything. Anything. That's what she said. I sat with that for a long time. Because I could end her. Fully. But there's a better option. Next update, how I made her beg in person. How I taught her that survival has a cost and sometimes it looks exactly like mercy. Only colder. Only quieter. Update 2. I made her wait. For days, no response. For days of silence while her world imploded in tiny, invisible increments. Elise wasn't the type to panic outwardly, she spiraled in silence, behind curtains and closed tabs. She wanted control even when drowning. But on the 5th day she showed up. Unannounced. In the rain. She stood at my apartment door, soaked through a blazer that probably cost more than my month's rent. Her mascara was waterproof but not built for this kind of unraveling. She didn't knock. Just stood there. Eyes hollow. Cheeks twitching like a puppet whose strings had finally snapped. I didn't speak. I opened the door. Stepped aside. She walked in without asking. Sat on the edge of my couch like it might bite her. Her hands trembled. I don't know what you sent to who, she began, her voice brittle. But it's gone. It's all gone. I said nothing. She kept going. Devin's under internal investigation. His wife froze the accounts. They repossessed the car. The apartment wasn't in my name due to legal structuring. I'm locked out. Still, I said nothing. So she dropped the act. Look, she snapped, you made your point, okay? You're smarter. You win. What do you want, money? Public apology? You want me to grovel? Yes. I didn't say that out loud. I just walked to the counter and picked up the envelope I prepared. Inside were 3 items. A photograph. Elise, naked in bed, not pornographic, just vulnerable. She was asleep. Peaceful. Taken months ago, back when I still thought that softness was real. I'd printed it on high-quality mat. Not as a threat. As a reminder. A typed list. Every password she ever used. Every account. Every hidden folder. With red circles around the ones I hadn't touched. Yet. A contract. 1 page. 1 clause. She would become my consultant. No legal title. No salary. No resume line. Just a retainer-based arrangement where she would provide weekly analysis on legal structuring for a nonprofit I'd recently registered. The nonprofit was real. The cause? Restoration for financially abused partners. Ironic, I know. She scanned the page. Blinked. This is, she whispered. This is what? You want me to work for you? I nodded. But no credit. No record. Just be useful. I nodded again. And if I say no? I handed her my phone. It was open to a draft email, addressed to her state's bar ethics committee. Attached were 3 files. Internal memos. Transaction logs. Her voice, transcribed from an old recording. It's not fraud if the numbers don't touch the audit line. She looked at me. And I watched something break. Not snap. Just quietly fold. Fine, she whispered. But I want one thing. I raised an eyebrow. I want the photo back. I walked to the kitchen. Burned it in the sink. She flinched at the flame. Not because it was dangerous, but because it meant she had nothing left to bargain with. Before she left, I gave her one final instruction. I want a weekly report. Legal assessments. No fluff. No delays. If you ghost, I go nuclear. She nodded. Didn't thank me. Didn't cry. Just walked out. I watched from the window as she climbed into a borrowed Uber, soaked again, alone in the back seat like a child leaving court. She hasn't missed a report since. They're always on time. Precise. Emotionless. But I can tell when she's scared. The last file had a typo. She never makes typos. And me? I'm doing fine. My nonprofit launched 2 weeks ago. 3 grants secured. I hired a team, people like me, people discarded. Elisa's intel fast-tracked our approval process. She writes the loopholes. We close them. I haven't told anyone who she is. Not yet. Because this isn't revenge. It's structure. And structure? Is permanent. Update 3. He came in a beige coat and sunglasses like he thought the disguise made him invisible. I recognized Devin the second he stepped into the cafe. It was late. Quiet. The kind of place where nobody eavesdrops because everyone's ashamed to be there. He scanned the room like a man looking for ghosts. His hands shook as he pulled out the chair across from me, uninvited. You're a hard man to reach, he said. I stirred my coffee. You shouldn't be here. He laughed, dry brittle. The sound of someone trying to act like he still had options. Elise told me what you did, he said. She says you're determined. I didn't respond. He leaned in. I don't care about her, he said. She's a footnote. Always was. You and I, though? We've got a mutual interest. Survival. He placed a USB on the table. I have files, he whispered. Backup drives. Stuff Elise never saw. Stuff even my wife doesn't know exists. I'll trade them. For silence. For time. I sipped my drink. He kept talking. You don't understand the reach of what you're doing, he said. This audit, this mess, it's not just about a few bad transfers. There are people involved. Real people. Foundations. Boards. Names. I smiled. Good. His face twisted. I'm offering you a parachute, he snapped. You don't take it, you burn with the building. I finally spoke. I'm not in the building, Devin. That rattled him. You think this is about justice? He hissed. You think you're a hero? No, I said. I think I'm the floor coming out from under you. He stood suddenly. People glanced over. He leaned down close to my ear. She'll flip. Eventually. They always do. I laughed. She already did. He froze. I slid a manila folder across the table. Inside? Every email Elise sent me since the arrangement began. Marked. Tracked. Forwarded. Notarized. She never noticed. At the bottom, a summary sheet. My nonprofit's legal coverage. Our exposure. Our protections. And a small note in the margin. Disclosures will be published March 3rd. That's 12 days from now. Devin's eyes darted across the page like he was reading his own autopsy. This'll ruin lives, he muttered. It'll illuminate them, I said. He didn't speak after that. Just took the USB and walked out. He left his coffee untouched. I stayed until it got cold. Back at home, Elisa's report was waiting in my inbox. This one was different. Titled, Confession Draft. It wasn't legal analysis. It was a letter. To whom it may concern, it began. I hereby accept full responsibility for my actions as counsel during the Hallstrom and Greaves restructuring, including but not limited to. It went on. Page after page. Names. Dates. Banking transactions. Shell accounts. It read like a suicide note in legalese. She'd cracked. No doubt about it. But it wasn't panic. It was strategy. This was her way of crawling out. If she got there first, if she framed it the right way, maybe she could flip the narrative. Say she was manipulated. Say she was a whistleblower. It almost worked. Until I noticed something. Page 7. A line that didn't match her writing style. Misrepresentations made by other parties, including unnamed donors and silent partners. I checked the metadata. That paragraph had been edited yesterday. From a different IP. Devon's. She sent him the letter. Let him revise it. Let him shape her confession so she could throw a lifeline and protect him. That was the final mistake. I called her. No answer. So I drove. Her new place wasn't far, a furnished rental paid for in cash, probably with what was left of her jewelry and pride. I knocked. She opened the door in a sweatshirt. No makeup. No jewelry. Just eyes like broken glass. You read it, she said. I nodded. I was going to tell you, she whispered. No, I said. You were going to use me. Again. She leaned against the doorframe like she'd collapse if I pushed. I was scared, she whispered. So was I said. When I sold the only thing that meant anything to me so you could chase your dream. When you left me for a married man and laughed about it with your parents. When I realized you never loved me, you just loved my desperation. She didn't deny it. Didn't even flinch. She just said, what now? And that's when I gave her the real choice. You're going to read it, I said. The full confession. Aloud. On camera. Her eyes widened. You're insane. No, I said. I'm tired. I can't. You will, I said. Or I press send. The draft. The emails. The photo metadata. The paper trail. She stared at me. I could see the war in her eyes. Not between guilt and innocence. Between ego and survival. Finally, she nodded. When? Tomorrow, I said. You pick the outfit. But no makeup. No edits. One take. And then I left. Final update. She read every word. In my living room. No script. No cuts. Just a gray hoodie, trembling hands, and a single phone camera locked on her face. The confession was 15 minutes long. She outlined the fraud. Named the shell corporations. Admitted she falsified compliance audits. Described how she helped Devon misappropriate firm funds in excess of $2.3 million through consulting fronts. She even confessed to targeting me, calling our relationship a financial stopgap for upward mobility. She said that. Word for word. When it was done, she looked at the floor and whispered, I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I ended the recording, uploaded it to a private Vimeo link, and hit schedule. Release date, March 3rd. It will publish automatically unless I stop it. And I won't. But the story doesn't end there. Because 2 days after we filmed, Elisa's parents showed up at my building. I don't know how they found me. Probably her. Maybe a private investigator. It doesn't matter. They were dressed like they were going to church, fake humility stretched over expensive regret. Her father held a Bible. Her mother had printed screenshots. Of me. Old ones. Concert photos. Me drunk at a college party. A Reddit thread I posted in 2018 asking for budgeting advice when I was broke and scared and 23. They came prepared to build a narrative. I let them into the lobby. Not my apartment. Just enough to make them feel heard. You've done enough, her mother said. She's not eating. She cries all day. Her father added. She's lost everything. We know she hurt you. But this is vengeance. I nodded like I understood. Then I handed them a folder. Inside, a printed copy of the confession. Elisa's voice transcribed, highlighted, and something else. A still frame from the video. Paused at the moment she says, I took advantage of someone who genuinely cared about me, because I thought success meant stepping on people who loved me. Her mother read it, didn't speak. Her father said, You're bluffing. So I opened my phone, pressed play. They watched for 30 seconds before her mother begged me to stop. I paused it. Do you know what you applauded? I asked. Neither responded. You applauded her leaving me after I sold my guitar for her bar fees. Do you remember that brunch? Your toast? Here's to moving up? Her father looked at his hands. She used me, I said. So I turned her into what she made me feel like, a tool. Replaceable. But the difference is, I won't discard her. I'll preserve her. As evidence. Her mother started to cry. They asked if there was anything they could do. I told them yes. Go home. And tell the people who knew me, the people who laughed, that the loser they mocked was the one who saved her from prison. They left in silence. The next morning, I got a call from Devin. Voicemail only. His voice was flat, mechanical. "You've ruined my life," he said. "My wife's divorcing me. My children aren't speaking to me. You think this makes you strong? It makes you dangerous." He ended the message with a whisper. "I hope you never find peace." "I won't. That's not what this was about." 3 days ago, I published the video. It's live. Not viral. Not yet. But her name has come up in various professional circles and legal forums. Internal memos. People are watching. And Devin? He's under formal investigation. His wife served him. Took the house. Froze the retirement accounts. She sent me a single sentence via email. "Thank you for handing me the matches." Elise hasn't called since. She won't. Because she knows now I never wanted revenge. Just the record. Just the facts. The guitar I sold for her bar exam? I found one just like it last week. Same model. Same color. It's hanging on my wall. Untouched. I don't play anymore. But I keep it there. To remind me, some instruments are never meant to make music. Some are meant to be weapons. And sometimes, the softest sound in the world is silence. Thanks for reading.